Okay, so we're going to be looking at how to round to the nearest whole number using a number line. So the first example we're looking at is 4 2/10. So we're rounding to the nearest whole, which means the ones place. So this one is either going to round to the whole number 4, or it's going to round to the whole number 5. So see, in our ones place, we have a 4. So when we round, it's either going to stay the same or it's going to go up to the next whole number. So this is our number line. Now, it may appear that there are no numbers between 4 and 5, but there are. As we can see, this number goes to the tenths place. So that's how we're going to break our number line up into tenths. Since we're rounding to the nearest whole, we'll break it up to the next smaller place value, which would be tenths. So the midpoint halfway between 4 and 5 is going to be 4.5. And that'll help us. Then we can, continue to partition the rest of the number line by tenths. So we have 4 1/10, 4 2/10, 4 3/10, 4 4/10. I'm going to go ahead and show those. And then our midpoint is 4 5/10, and then 4 6, 4 7/10, 4 8/10, 4 9/10. And we can see that 4.2 would be right here on our number line. And we can very clearly see right here on our number line, and we can very clearly see that it would be closer to the whole number 4. So 4.2 would round to the whole number 4 because it's below or less than our midpoint. Okay, so in example 2, we have 3 89/100ths, but we're still just rounding to the nearest whole or the nearest ones place. So our number line is going to start at this whole number 3 and go up to the next whole number, which would be 4. And then because we're rounding to the nearest ones place, we partition it into tenths. So the midpoint between 3 and 4 would be 3 5/10, or 3.5. And then we can partition the rest of the number line by tenths. So 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, or 3 1/10, 3 2/10, 3 3/10, 3 4/10, and then 3 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. I'm just going to label those. And here our number has 3 and it has 8/10 and 9/100. So here's 3 8/10. So it's a little more than that. So somewhere in here would be our number 3 89/100. So somewhere in there, because I have an 8 in the tenths place right here, and then a little more. So it's clearly closer to the whole number 4. So 3 89/100ths would round to the whole number 4. Okay, and then in example 3, I have a number that's written to the thousandths place. This is 10 501,000ths. And we're still just rounding to the nearest ones place or the nearest whole place. So on my number line, I'm going to start with the whole number 10. And I go up to the next whole number, which would be 11. And since I'm rounding to the whole number, I partition it into tenths. So my midpoint, my halfway point, would be 10.5 or 10 5/10. And then I'd partition the rest of it by tenths. So 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, 10.5, 6, 10.7, 10.8, 10.9. I'll go ahead and show those. And we can see this is 10 and it has 5 in the tenths place and then a little bit more. So I'm going to go to the 10 and 5/10, and it would be just above that. And so that would round up. It's closer to the 11. So that would round to 11. And that's an example of how we would use number lines to round to the nearest whole or the nearest ones place.